Losing 4 search and destroys, it irks me. It hurts my soul.
You don't want to blame one player, but 0.5s, 0.6s, unacceptable, brother.
Give me Kismet. I want the Bulldog.
What?
The Bulldog?
What's up, guys, and welcome back to Reverse Sweep presented by Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code Reverse Sweep for a first deposit match of up to $100. Another incredibly spicy weekend of Call of Duty action. And as always, Pat, Chris, and Doug are here to discuss it all in today's show. We'll also go through our prize picks and go through our previous champs winners team draft, and then finishing off with our favourite segment, community questions. But before we get into that, I want to give a massive thanks to everyone who subbed to the channel this week. If you're not already, do me a huge favour, hit that subscriber button. But first on the agenda today, we have Carolina, who come away with a 2-0 weekend, and Gwinn making his own case for Rookie of the Year. He dropped 115 kills in the series, 20,000 damage and a 1.47 KD against New York. And then they follow up with a convincing 3-0 victory over LAG. What do you guys think? Are Carolina the real deal, or was it just a good weekend?
I think Carolina are on the uptrend. They finally got moved in together. Previously, they were pretty split, so it did them no favors online. They happened to struggle online prior to that. They come away with the 2-0 weekend, and one of them is against one of the top 4 teams. So now that record gets a little bit more or less convincing there for the top 4. I think New York actually lost 2 series this weekend, so they didn't look too good. But either way, dude, Gwinn had a insane performance. And then today against the LAG, they looked very convincing in their victory. So I personally think the Ravens have a good, strong case here to start, going up on that ladder. And they already got it done on LAN. So if they can continue this trend online, it's only going to bode well for their champs contention. But they've been looking better, man. So I'm pretty happy about that.
I think Gwynn's the real deal. I think that one's safe for me. The Carolina team as a whole, I'm a little shaky on them just because I feel like they still rely too heavily on one player to go off to beat these top end of the teams, not even necessarily the top 4. I think Carolina's obviously, like Chris said, on an uptrend. But it's also weird because I don't know if you guys disagree with this. I feel like some of their competition, right, like the bottom 4 are on a downtrend. Like I feel like the bottom 4 are starting to be like really bad. And my, kind of where I see the middle of the pack now is Carolina, Vegas, obviously, and Rocker. And then maybe Boston, maybe.
Not Thieves.
Oh, Thieves, right. Thieves. Yeah. Boston's, we'll get there, but they gotta get some ice. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the problem too. Like, I still think Vegas, Rocker, and Thieves are better than this Carolina squad. But we'll have to see. Obviously, they're living all in a team house now, or Brian Saint's apartment. So we'll have to see if that uptrend continues.
You know what's weird? Like, this is a stretch, but they have New York's number. They beat them now online. They beat them on LAN at the first event where they upset them. Like, I'm not saying Carolina's a top 4 team, but like they at the very least have this head to head against New York pretty convincingly now. They keep winning like this. Maybe they actually play at an event, right, when they might finish top 4. Like if they maybe match up New York again and New York continues to be shaky, they might end up getting a good placement because at least for the most part, from what we've seen, at least for them on LAN, they've only really lost to like basically who'd they lose to at the first event? I think they lost to. Did they lose to like OpTic at the first event when they got so they lost to OpTic and they're like a top 2 team right now. And then at this last one, I think they didn't lose. Did they lose?
No, they lost to Surge at the first event.
Oh, they lost to Surge. Oh yeah, that was when Surge was. I think Surge got like a top 4.
Yeah, no, top 6. That's when they like beat them. Yeah, they beat them and then lost the next time. And then they lost to New York. They lost to New York at the last event. So
okay. So yeah, they do. So it's what 2-1 right now, counting their online win. Never mind. I'm just spewing.
By the way, for sure.
I still think like these guys have potential to make a run at a tournament, bro. Because they actually don't look bad. They've been looking a lot better in terms of like the other the bottom like 8. So I don't know. I like it. I'm happy.
I personally feel like it's really like up in grabs. Like all these teams I'm watching seem to be playing for second place to Atlanta FaZe. Maybe OpTic's a close like OpTic is the second best team in my opinion, but all these matches seem to be going anyone's way. I mean, Miami was competing with Toronto. Miami beats Boston. Carolina beats New York, right? Like, I don't know. I just feel like every match has been, I can't really differentiate. Even with Vegas with the roster change, they didn't look too good versus OpTic. It just seems like FaZe is at the very top, undisputed, the best team in the game. OpTic is behind them, but also at the very top, undisputed second best team in the game. And then it's just kind of like Toronto and New York aren't playing as good as they were before. LAG still doesn't really look that good. Boston, obviously, the new roster changes. Can't win a search and destroy. 0-4 in search and destroy. 0-2 in matches because of the search and destroys. It just seems like it's really anyone's game right now outside of the top two in the league. That's just the way it seems for me when I'm watching these matches.
Yeah, it's completely volatile at the minute. Like, obviously we've had so many different team changes. We've seen so many different like map set changes and stuff like that. So I feel like most teams apart from FaZe are kind of like on this like roller coaster really. New York being one of them. And we just mentioned them there. They've had a horrible week. They lost to Carolina and Seattle. I think, to be honest, in my perspective, I think that the new maps has clearly been an issue for them because they've been vetoing 6-star and they're not looking great on Vista. So, I mean, they weren't exactly setting the world on fire before on Hardpoint, but now I think it's getting even harder for them to win. I mean, they lost all 3 respawns against Seattle, who are typically like a NYSL team. What do you think the problem with New York is, really?
Shit, I don't know. I don't know what happened.
I'll take
to
that.
these guys.
I think with New York, it's pretty simple. Like, they had a winning formula last year, and they went through a lot of, even last year when they had Priester on their roster, they still had stretches where they didn't really look that good. And it's the same thing with Dante on their roster too. They still have stretches where they don't look good. And then with Dante, there's times where they look good as well. I just think that what MarkyB said, just the new maps is definitely something that plays into it, in my opinion. Whenever you have a meta change with maps throughout the middle of the season, we all know, even though teams are still going really hard and we already know who's the best and whatever, all it takes is either one new map to come in to change everything in the veto process, one new gun to come in, etc. The new maps are definitely something that New York seems to be struggling with, like what Mark said. And then also these other teams are making changes too. And you got to expect sometimes when you make a change, it's going to work. Maybe it won't work. With Seattle, it worked. With Carolina, it just seems like they always play New York really well. And it just seems like New York kind of got caught lacking at the same time. So I know we like to put these teams on pedestals because they do deserve the pedestals, but these are all pro players. And I think even at these events or with these teams, regardless of who the pro players are, when you have changes happening in game, it affects everything. And that's what we're kind of seeing in the league right now. I think New York just had a tough weekend.
New York seemed to just be playing like too predictable, though. I don't think they're letting their individual talent shine as hard. Like, I feel like they have the talent to bully these teams, but they're so like hell bent on playing like a systematic Call of Duty game that they're just giving these teams room to breathe. And it really feels like the only player on the team that like is able to pour in any sort of pressure is Hydra, and he just has like a heavy load in those respawns to kind of try to do everything. And I don't really know what it is, because I think last stage they were just having issues in slaying, although they were still competitive. Now they're getting kills for the most part. They just can't convert that into W. So I don't know. It was one weekend, so hopefully this doesn't continue to happen. But if it continues to happen, I'm sure more of their issues will be like way more apparent going forward.
Yeah, I think if they are able to just improve on those new maps, clearly, which are an issue, then we're going to see a bit of a upward trajectory from them. They've, like you said, they've had multiple moments throughout their time as a franchise, just up and down. Last year, winning an event, top 12 the next event. They've been on a bit of a roller coaster, regardless of the success they had. And now Seattle, I mean, we mentioned them there. They took them out. They've made obviously some roster changes, some of which we've gave a lot of criticism for on this show. I think that their most recent one has so far been successful. From what I've heard, they've been doing well in scrims. They had a tough doubleheader this weekend going against 2 top 4 teams. They go 1-1, and obviously we've always mentioned this like top 4 gap that's been there kind of throughout the entire season. New York obviously ruining that record a little bit, but going 1-1, OpTic obviously are quite a hard competition to go against. They've won all maps they played this weekend, but at the end of the day, going 1-1 and getting a victory there is probably what we would have took it beforehand for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about the Seattle squad. Obviously, this weekend was kind of weird for them. we don't expect them to beat OpTic in any day of the week. And then that New York series was like, what the hell is going on? So for me, I think I still need to see more from this Seattle squad as a whole. Personally, I'm not too high on them. I know obviously they couldn't get worse from their roster change, but I don't know necessarily if I'm ready to say like this team's not gonna not qualify for champs. I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of anticipating them ending up bottom 4.
Yeah, I probably see them coming bottom 4, but they do have a good online stage here. They have some like decent matches. Their next 3 are against Vegas. They play Miami, and then they play Thieves. So they've got kind of like they can go 2-1 out of those 3 potentially.
I guess this will be a good test for them, right? Like because I expect them to beat Miami, but going up against LAT and Vegas will be really good test because those are 2 teams who I think are fighting for that like middle of the pack spot right now, and kind of seeing how they do against them will be a good test. But I mean, I can't really take much away from that New York series because again, I don't know what the hell is going on in that one.
I'm just not convinced, dude. Like, I think aBeZy had like a very out of the ordinary performance for his relative progress in the league so far. I think he played really good. And that kind of probably elevated everybody else to play better. They got it done in respawns, which is just I don't even see how that's possible. I just think that series is just an anomaly. I don't think they'll be able to carry that forward. But hey, if they can prove me wrong, great. I think they have potential in Search and Destroy. They've been a Search and Destroy team. They've been that NYSL squad when it comes to like being able to extend series off winning Search and Destroy. But their control up until the match that they won, or the map that they won against New York, was like an 18% like win rate. Like, how is that even? That's not even competitive, bro. Like, that's like they've probably won like 1 or 2 controls the entire season if we're like looking at it like that. It's been terrible. Like, yeah, they upset a top 4 team, but New York has been they've been just like looking worse and worse. So I don't really know if I can take away anything from that. I need to see more because even against OpTic, they didn't really look too good. Granted, those are 2 tough opponents. We'll see how they do against the middle of the pack teams, because then we'll be able to gauge really if they've actually progressed as a team or not.
And can I just say, like, with these online league matches, and they're just one single best of 5 that you're playing for in an online match, with all these changes happening in the league, so many roster changes, so many map changes coming in, when we're sitting here saying and harping on players for their performances, like for example with aBeZy, right? Like we're saying aBeZy had an anomaly series. Yes, he has, but I think that when you have a player like aBeZy in a dynamic with his old team, and now you have 0-4 coming in, it's a completely different player, and it changes and enables players in different ways on the team too. So like I played against aBeZy in Challengers. That boy was shooting. I've seen aBeZy in the league when he was playing with General and his boys in Black Ops 4, and he got top 4 at champs, right? So like then he goes on a certain team with certain players, and the team just isn't performing the way that you'd want them to, and aBeZy seems like he's the scapegoat. Now 0-4 comes in, aBeZy plays really well. So Chris, I think to your point, we got to monitor and see how this roster is going to develop as time goes on, because beating New York, regardless if New York's playing good or playing bad, it is still New York subliners and you still to get the win. But also with these online matches, I do feel like a lot of things could happen. Honestly, it's obviously the only thing that's consistent in this Call of Duty league that I see right now is that FaZe is the number 1 team and OpTic is the number 2 team.
Yeah, I think we all agree that it's just one of those ones. It's too early to really say for sure on Seattle, but like you just said, Doug, OpTic, they are looking like one of the consistent teams in this league at the minute. And regardless, obviously, of whatever we may say about these 2 teams, Vegas and Seattle, they aren't exactly in the bottom 4 right now. I mean, you obviously make some arguments for both of them, but at the end of the day, both teams that have shown a little bit of life, getting a 2-3-0 victories is still very impressive for OpTic, continuing that consistency that they had from the major. Yeah, I mean, Shotzi was roasting Vegas in an interview afterwards, saying that they didn't know how to play the game, and obviously they've just made a recent change as well. Overall, though, OpTic, there's not really much to talk about, but I think that it's definitely worth mentioning their consistency that they've managed to maintain after the major.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because like even if OpTic didn't get better, right? Let's just say they stayed the exact same. I feel like their competition in the top 4, obviously outside of FaZe, has gotten so much worse that they're automatically in the second spot, right? Like, they didn't really have to do anything to gain that spot, really, just because the regression we've seen from Toronto and New York has been so severe. There's not really much else to say. I mean, right now, I would be confident that OpTic's probably going to beat any team they go up against that's not Atlanta FaZe. And we kind of talked about this last episode. Like, it's one of those things where it could be the opposite of the Vanguard year just because FaZe is that good and I think has OpTic's number entirely so far. And I think we'll continue to. But yeah, right now, if you're an OpTic fan, I think the coast is clear and you're chilling just because until Toronto and New York can step it back up and play like any bit of what they were in the beginning, there's just no one that they have to worry about except FaZe.
It's just going to take a lot of work for them, for those teams, because I think the thing that OpTic and FaZe have both done well here, obviously FaZe to a higher degree, is that they've incorporated the new maps into their map pool. I think FaZe looks absolutely dangerous on 6-star and Vista, as well as they do on Rio. So they just have so many like looks that they can throw at teams. And then OpTic obviously has gotten good at 6-star. It's been in a couple of their maps and they've won it. They even won it against, what was it that they played on it? They beat FaZe on it. So I think OpTic has improved a lot. They've also turned away their auto veto with High Rise, and they've started to play that more, and they looked pretty good on it against FaZe. So like, yeah, I think OpTic has improved since the major. Yeah, the competition is getting worse, bar FaZe, but you know they've done a good job, man. They've incorporated the new maps. They've started to get better at some of the maps they previously vetoed. So clearly, this team's making improvements. FaZe is making improvements. I'd be shocked if these two teams are probably not going to be in the finals at the next event. Obviously, it might be a little bit too early to tell, but the way things are looking, man, and how both of these new teams, or Toronto and New York, have regressed, they got a lot of work to do because I was not impressed at all by both of these teams this weekend.
I have a quick question for you guys. Do you think it's FaZe and OpTic's compositions in terms of having like that more natural flex type player on these newer, like faster paced maps that's like a big factor for them? Or do you think it's just them learning the maps quicker? Because I mean, they've got obviously Ken on OpTic, Drazah on FaZe being more comfortable, like players pulling out SMGs than you'd say like a Scrap or like a Sib.
I wouldn't say so, at least for Toronto. I think Scrap with a sub on Rio is absurd. Whenever they played that map versus pretty much most of the teams, he's gross. So I don't think that's what it is, but I like the thought process. Obviously, a lot more maps have came in that are a little bit more sub heavy, and it's probably more convincing. I think, honestly, with Toronto, they just need more like out of the players they've picked up. I think Envoy has just been absolutely fucking abysmal in hardpoint, and this is from a team that was the best hardpoint team in the league, now struggling to win that game mode. And obviously, you don't want to blame one player, but 0.5s, 0.6s, unacceptable, brother.
Like 10 series in a row, yeah.
10 series in a row?
So.
Is it actually 10 series in a row?
I think of his last 10 hard points, he's had 6.5s. And he's not had one positive, like not one 1.0. Like the rest have been like 0.6, 0.7, 0.8.
That's not team dynamic at that point. That's just a player struggling.
Yeah,
and that's not even against like it's not like he's playing FaZe every series. He's playing fucking like he played like LAG and dropped the 0.5. Like it's I don't know what's going on with Envoy. He's got to figure it the fuck out because as it stands right now, like obviously Insight hasn't been playing the best either, but he is holding that team back hard right now.
You agree?
Well, do we want to move into the prize pick segment then, Patty P?
Yeah, we do. And guys, I got great news. As you guys know, we won. I think 3 is our sweet spot. Obviously, this is our first prize picks win of the season. And prize. Hey, relax now. Prize Picks has quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, enormous selection of players and stat types. And that's what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. And I agree because we won. Gwinn hit the more by a lot. He was absolutely having himself a series against NYSL. That was probably the best series he's ever had. That may have been one of the best series I've ever seen from an individual player. aBeZy, thank you for getting shit on. and of course Insight, who clutched up for us, and 2 kills less to make our first $25 power play a success. What are you guys' instant reactions?
I'm buzzing.
I'm
It's been a
gassed.
long time.
It's about
Still
damn
wants it.
time, Pat.
Listen, guys, I think this is we talked about it for other teams, like the start of an uptrend. I think this is the start of the uptrend for us. Luckily, we're in this portion of Call of Duty now with back-to-back-to-back matches. So back next Friday. We got 2 games on that Friday, so we got to pick from LA Thieves against the Royal Ravens and the LA Gorillas against the Minnesota Rocker. What are we thinking? How can we make sure we win again?
I want the
Assault
Ghosty
less.
more.
The Ghosty
Oh, God.
more.
Yes.
Think as though he's playing against Gwinn.
I don't care. Ghosty more.
I could see that series being an absolute grueler. And both teams like the fast-paced maps. So I'm with it. I'm with Gwinn. I'm with Ghosty.
We're
Either
with
or.
both?
Are we respecting Gwyn? Are we expecting the Gwyn more too, just because he had the Virtuoso series last
Right.
week?
I'm gonna throw some shit at the wall here, right? Gwinn, right? He's been having so much success. Obviously, that series overall is probably going to change his projections. So, do we go Gwinn less, or is that just dumb? That could just be a terrible decision.
What do you think, Pat?
That's an insane shout.
Yeah, bad shout. I knew it was. I just wanted to throw it out there.
Gwyn less is insane.
It would be insane, but
I think we could do Ghosty more.
yeah, I'm thinking Ghosty or Gwinn. To be honest, I'm happy. with
Ghosty
either
is
or.
going to have a field day. He's shooting against Clay and Fellow.
Whew.
Ghost, that's his circle. I mean, those are the players that Dan knows these players. Dan Ghosty knows these players very well. He knows how they play COD. And Dan has been a very good player in the league. He has been very consistent. And I think that Thieves is starting to pick up a little bit of momentum. They're starting to click a little bit too, just like Carolina. And I feel like Ghosty is the type of player that steps up to the occasion. So I think the Ghosty more is just the natural one that's screaming at me right now.
Okay.
The Gwyn one, though, Gwyn more obviously is a guarantee for Pat, but for me, I'm kind of sad on MarkyB on this.
We
with the
know
Gwyn
the
less.
assault less is hitting. So just put that one in there.
Yeah. I'm down for the assault less for sure. I'm down for.
Are we sure though? Because I feel like his projection is going to be so low.
No,
Like
actually
he's
true.
been getting world starred.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah, but they're
That's
going to
scary.
get cooked. But actually, maybe not. Minnesota are like up and down. You never know. It could be like a grueler. Yeah, but assault less has just been doing well for us, man.
What
Were you
about-
banning the Lamar less? Is it?
He played good. He played good in their last series. You want to who's sneakily been playing kind of average? I think either Standy or Pierce. I think Pierce is a pretty low engagement player.
Yep.
The way he plays pretty low engagement. And he's been having like the 0.9s, he's just been like, I don't know, he's been like pretty even.
So I was
I
looking
think we
into
could
this.
go for a gunless less.
Yeah, Pierce is averaging more like less interactions than Lamar since he's joined
That's
the team.
insane.
So
So wait, are we going with the gun less?
the gun less.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah,
Assault
that one's
less,
gotta
gun
hit.
less, and Ghosty more. You want to keep it with 3?
Wow. So we're going double less in that second series.
I think we go Lins more.
Well, we can't have everything, Chris. We got to pick one player from each team.
I think
So do you want gunless more or Lins more?
We do gunless.
Or okay, gunless and ghosty
it's
more.
gonna hit just because of the name.
All right, well, then I need a player on the Gorillas or the Ravens, and what are they going?
I think we go assault, gunless, and ghosty. I think those are the 3.
I think
And
the
then-
assault less, Ghosty more, and gunless less.
Yeah, those would be my 3 if I was to pick 3.
Chris, you with that?
Yeah, whatever you guys want, I'm down.
All right, we'll lock it in. We'll do gunless, assault less, and then ghosty more. Prize Picks is really simple to play. I can make my picks and submit the entry in less than 60 seconds. Make sure you download the app today and use code REVERSE for a first deposit match up to $100.
Now it's time to talk about Boston Breach. Doug, I think you're probably the best to start us off here. 2 Game 5 losses since they've made these roster changes. Pentagram hasn't played great so far. I know obviously you played with him previously at the start of the year. What do you think is going wrong in these Game 5s? And do you think the team has improved regardless of the results?
Let's break it down really quick. Respawn, I believe that you need to be at least 50-50 in hardpoint. I believe they are. They've been basically 50-50 in hardpoint, 2-2. Control, swing mode, they've looked fantastic. They've only played Karachi, but they're 6-0 round counting Control. So that's amazing. I mean, you can't do much better than that. Search and Destroy, though, they got the 0-4. I mean, we might as well just sign 0-4 from Seattle over here as well with the 0-4, man. I mean, 0-4 in Search and Destroy. Search and Destroy wins you championships. I don't care if you're the best team in the world or the worst team in the world. Search and Destroy will win you championships. And again, the same thing I said last week is the same thing that's riding true here. The offenses are very stagnant on both the maps that I'm watching them play. 6-star a little bit better, obviously, but 6-star is a very new, straight-up map, I feel. But the Invasion, I mean, we're going to the A-bomb set every round. I'm watching Pentagram smoke out the street, and then I'm seeing Priestess sit on the fire truck. I don't know what's happening in the comms. I don't know if we're smoking the street and Priest is just like, it just doesn't make sense. I'm not in the room with the guys. I'd love to be. I want to be. I want to hear what's going on in these searches. I want to talk to the players in these search and destroys because I'm learning about the league as I go, and I'm seeing like, you know, Tupac is with the FaZe boys all the time, and I know he's preaching stuff in their ears. Well, I want to take a microphone and start preaching stuff in their ears and search and destroy because these boys have got to figure it out in search and destroy. Because if we can win these search and destroys, these series will be closer, better. I mean, both of these series would be wins if we're winning these searches. So,
what did you think of that Standy 1v3 today?
I again, dude, when Standy's going in that water and you see him kill, okay, he kills, what was it, Snoopy on the flank, fair play. I want Beans to sit on the top half wall and not move. You're Beans. You shoot straighter than just about anyone in the game. You have probably one of the best snapshots in the world. I mean, it's not really a contention. Beans, if you have to put him in a situation where, hey, sit here and look left or look right and snap on it, there's probably only 2 people, maybe 3 I'd want in that situation, and one of them is Ben Beans. So, like, it's almost like we get to the map control that we're looking for. We have the talent to go to the spot, and then we're overthinking it a little bit. So, yes, Standy's 1v3 was great. I loved it. But I feel like Pentagram's getting left out to dry in a lot of these situations. Again, I don't know what's happening on Invasion, but if he's smoking out the A-bomb and I'm looking at Priester on the fire truck, I'm sitting there thinking, what the hell is going on? This guy's going for a bomb plant and we're not getting close to the guy planting the bomb. So maybe you switch the bomb planters. Maybe you have Priester plant the bombs and Pentagram look over the bomb planter. The respawn to me is fine. I don't really have an issue with the respawn at all. But the search and destroys, man, it just comes down to that to me. Like, we have the players to make the plays, and then we're overthinking the situation. And instead of reverse engineering the objective, which is in this case, you said the Standy 1v3, he has to kill you defusing the bomb. You don't always have to get the kill, then get the defuse. You can play it like that, but they have to run at you and defuse the bomb. So again, it has to be a split-second call, whether it's Pentagram going, I'm defusing, look over me. Or if it's Beans going, diffuse, I have over you. Someone in that split second has to make that call. Same thing when these bombs are going down. You're smoking out the bomb, and then you got a player running backwards on fire truck. I mean, no one's going to look good in those situations. And I know we all want to sit here and just harp on one guy. It's a team effort, and I always think that. So I want to have a microphone and talk to these guys in search and destroy because I know I can help us get better in it. And unfortunately, I'm not there, a part of the situation. I'm not watching it. I'm just watching it at home just like you guys are. And it's frustrating, Pat. Honestly, losing 4 search and destroys, it irks me. It hurts my soul.
Doug, your team did not even watch the cross on Invasion to mid-tank or B-bomb.
I watched you on the flank earlier say this, and I couldn't agree more with you. It's
your
the simple
team
things
is
like that.
scared of a white man, and I fear they're giving up all map control, and Linz is taking a long route into Broken and not being denied. And then you guys are forced to blindly run up on different sides of the map and pray that you got information, which you could have just got off the rip of the round.
So, Chris, don't you think there's like mind game? Like, again, Chris, I'm going to agree with you here. Don't you think that there's mind games that are played like, hey, guys, before this round starts, if we get car bombed here, screw it. The round's over. It's basically chalked. We're going to have to clutch a 2v4 or whatever, like a 3v4. Like, don't you think that you have to play these mind games when you're in search and destroy? Like, we're going to take this risk, and if they throw this grenade here, we lose. Or, like, if they blind counter this, we're going to lose.
Yeah,
like,
if they throw the grenade every round, like if it's a constant on their team, fair play. But they weren't doing that, and you guys still didn't make the adjustment. But even if you did car bomb, like, you could always go around treehouse. You get the same timing. Like, I don't know. People just play But bro, it's the same thing. Your guys' S&D almost is like the same thing that New York's hardpoint is. It's like you're looking for you're trying to play for every possible variable to like go in your favor, and that is just not how you play COD, bro. Sometimes you just gotta be like, yo, if they do this, they want it more, bro. Like it is what it is.
That's just
But,
tunnel
like,
vision on this and hope it works. And if it doesn't, so be it. Correct?
exactly. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to commit and hope the play works, and they don't make the right play to counter you, because you can't play for everything. You try to play for everything, and nothing is going to go well. Like,
And also read the room too. Like going back to the diffuse, Pat, that irked me a lot because that was the round I saw, and I'm like, if we lose this map in this series, that's the first thing I'm harping on right there was that diffuse. Look, we have the situation, we have the number advantage, you have the information on where the guy is. I get it. Like everyone in the league's talented and everyone's a pro, but players have lapses of judgment. Clearly, we see it with players all the time. Make them in these adverse situations like the one Standy was in, make them do something incredible to beat you. Because again, that was always a philosophy when I won with you, Chris, when I won with you, Pat. It wasn't really spoken as much with you, Pat, because you had a different mentality than when Chris and I teamed. But like, I always had this mentality like, okay, I'm going to commit to the absolute best thing to put us in a great situation. And if we do lose this finals, I'm just going to be able to look at my teammates and say, yo, guys, we got fried by that dude, man. What are we going to do about it? Nothing. Sorry. Like that was always that end thought I had in my head. And I think that might have been a reason why we always won or we got those championships. And I think that's the mentality that we need to have in Search and Destroy here at Boston. So I agree.
Yeah, you got to play your percentages at the end of the day. And like going back to that Standy, like clutch, like you guys saying, there's two options. There's challenge them to the exact same fight, or there's defuse the bomb. And those are the two options. Instead, they chose neither of those two options. And like, it's just playing your percentages at the end of the day. And yeah, seems like there's a lot of rounds here and there that Boston are just throwing away. And I think the scary thing for them is that they are the same distance between 12th and 11th is the same distance between 11th and 5th in terms of points. So like, there's like although 30 points isn't a lot, at the end of the day, they're getting themselves into a hole now where it's like, if they don't start picking up some wins and then have a good result here at the next major, they're probably not making champs. And obviously for the Boston organization, without they've invested, etc., that would be an incredibly poor performance comparison to like some of the other franchises are hardly investing in their teams.
Yeah, they're just in must-win territory now in like every series.
Yeah. 100%. And a team let's move on to FaZe, actually, the FaZe and Ultra match, because that was the final match of the entire weekend we had here. And I think I can speak for all of us, and at least from myself, this was the match I was looking forward to. Obviously, there's that rivalry that's been going on there. I wanted to see how Ultra could sort of start to step up. But we've just kind of seen the same as what we've been seeing from Ultra for the last couple weeks, months now, where they're regressing a little bit. We touched on it earlier, Envoy's not having great performances. But I think FaZe are the kind of main thing I want to talk about here, and that's just overall, as a collective, they're just absolutely frying at the minute. Cellium, I believe, set the CDL series KD record. I think I see a tweet.
Yeah, like 1.8 something.
Yeah, 1.83. I feel like someone had done better than that, but I guess not. But yeah, I mean, FaZe looking incredible right now. What do you think is going to take them to get knocked off their perch?
Honestly, OpTic's getting a little close. They are just improving at the maps that they lacked in, that FaZe were good at, so they have some matchups that they can at least fight them back on, but I still don't really see the win condition because they are legitimately getting better at every game mode and every map. They don't have a weakness. It seems they can play you on Rio, they can play you on Vista, they can play you on 6-star, they can obviously play you on Karachi. When it comes down to their Search and Destroy, they're playing Rios, they're playing Karachis, they're playing everything, dude. And like, what the hell are you supposed to do? Not only that, their Karachi control, or their control is still like the best in the league. They're just so dominant that swing game mode and hardpoint. It's like they're almost like, even if they don't like win the S&D, the first S&D, they're just going to be up 2-1 in like every series. And it's just, I don't know. I don't really know what can be done. It doesn't seem like anyone can trade Simp right now. That guy's been godlike. He's basically at his Cold War form, it seems like, and this team is just looking kind of unstoppable. I'm not like trying to glaze them or anything. It's just like it's impressive.
Oh, you're glazing.
Oh,
It's
they deserve
impressive.
to be glazed. They deserve the most amount of glaze.
It's impressive. Like I don't know what to do. If I'm the other teams, I don't really know where to start.
Yeah, this looked like a top 4 matchup against a bottom 8 team beatdown. That's what this looked like. It was not close anywhere. But it's pretty shitty because, like, aside from how dominant FaZe looked, I think the question needs to be raised of more of, like, what is actually going on in this Toronto camp? Scrappy's the only one that I think is performing, to his potential where he should be. I haven't seen, like, him regress. But everybody else on this team has just gotten worse and fell off a cliff. Specifically Envoy and a little with Insight. Those guys are just nowhere near as good as they were. And it's not even like, usually if a team gets ahead early in the year, right, they win the first event, other teams catch up, watch their VODs. Like, yeah, sure, that's just going to happen. But these players are individually falling off a cliff. And that's the most concerning part because it's like, it literally looks like they just forgot how to shoot overnight almost. Like Envoy again, he's in the worst stretch of Call of Duty in his entire career. So yeah, I don't think anyone's going to stop FaZe anytime soon, but it does make me worried about where this Toronto team, how far they can fall.
Yeah, I think it's you hit the nail on the head, Pat. I think Envoy has to step it up at this point. I mean, we all trust and love Envoy's game, his personality, what he brings to a team, how he is as a teammate. And I also do think we all could agree here on this panel. We all had some highs in Call of Duty, and all of us have individually have had our lows too. And I think that you're right, Pat. Envoy's going through the lowest low he's ever had. And that's totally normal and natural to happen in Call of Duty. I think it's, unless if you're Atlanta FaZe, you see every player and team have these lows. And that's just the bottom line, the fact of the matter. I think the positive side here, Pat, is that they've built up such a great lead in the standings to, no matter what, like, we all know this too. You've been a part of you've both been a part of Dynasties, Chris and Pat, but you're going to go through your highs and lows as a team throughout the year, and you can't expect to win them all. Even FaZe, when we say that they're the best and the most consistent, they have 2 event wins over the last 2 games, right? Or like 2 event wins over the last 3 games in total, if I'm not mistaken. So even with them and how consistent they are, the winning isn't as consistent as you'd like it for a dynasty. So winning is just hard, and players are going to go through struggles. Obviously, Envoy struggles are tough. Insight struggles a little bit. Sometimes Kleenex will have some bad games. And then, yeah, I mean, Scrappy is the one consistent guy who's always frying, it seems. But it is what it is. Sometimes you're a great team and you're going to struggle, and you just got to deal with it and just wait until the struggle goes away and just keep on doing the same routine you have every day. That's just the way I've always looked at it.
I think the scary thing with the Envoy fall off really is it's probably one of the worst spells I've seen though from a player. We mentioned it earlier, but the highest KD he's had in his last 9 hard points is 0.75. And just a whole
That's
bunch
insane.
of 0.5s, 0.6s, 0.3s. It's one of the worst spells I've ever seen. And I feel like it's obviously to do with his individual play. But, I mean, I think overall, like you guys have said, Kleenex, Insight, and Envoy have all been playing worse. It's got to be a whole team dynamic issue. And I think the new maps are a part to play in it. I think there's a lot of factors overall. But yeah, they've obviously not been able to maintain their form that they had at the start of the season. At one point, we were all saying that they were going to be dominant and win every event this year. And now they've fallen off the cliff. And I think you guys are right in saying as well that OpTic are clearly that second best team now. And it's kind of between Ultra and New York fighting out for 3rd place. But who would you guys favour in that matchup right now if it was tomorrow, Ultra versus New York?
Well, if it was tomorrow, probably New York. Because I mean, Envoy's on a streak of 0.5s, and you don't win hard points with 0.5s. In the long run, I would favor Ultra. But it's not to say that New York's not also in a horde. They just lost to somebody who was probably the worst team in the league in Seattle. So they're both in really bad situations, and both need to drastically improve and improve fast.
Yeah, 100%.
I would still take Toronto just personally. I just feel like they're going through a struggle too, but I just feel like a good team, and both these teams are good, but a good team, especially when they get slammed by a team like FaZe, they want to come back and be like, okay, no, we are this team. We're going to bounce back and do this now. So just because of that thought alone, I would take Toronto.
Yeah, I don't know, that's a tough one. I'd still maybe take Toronto just because they got scrap on their team. But outside of that, I don't know. Envoy and Insight have just been terrible, bro. Envoy more so, but like I don't know what's going on with their squad. I could have like said it was a gun nerf issue because of the changes with the MCW and the rival, but if anything, I think that would probably only really affect the AR players, but it's clearly affecting Envoy as well.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that as well. I think that I'd probably say it's a bit of a toss-up if they were to play tomorrow, but I still have a feeling that the Ultra are going to pick it up and like get better when they get more used to these maps. But I guess that's just to wait to be seen. We're going to actually do something a little different now, guys. We're going to do a previous champs winners team draft. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys to get your community questions in the comments below. Right after this draft, we're going to answer some of them. But just a reminder before then, get the questions below and, we'll try and answer some of the best ones in next week's show. For this previous champs winners team draft, we're going to start off with Pat, as he does have the most rings. And then we'll go down. It'll be then Chris and then Doug and then myself at the bottom, obviously, with no rings or international championships. So I'll go last. You can start us off.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take Simp here. Give me Simp.
Oh, wow.
Is
I'm so
anyone
surprised.
surprised?
No.
Start off my squad. It's a good piece.
I'm not going to lie, Pat. Before you joined the call, I was convinced you were picking yourself first.
Whoa. Wait, are we going? Each player
Peaks.
we're assuming is the peak, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Got Simp.
All right.
You guys are fucked. I won. GG.
I got it. I got this one. I know I got this one.
This is tough. This is tough for many reasons.
Chris is going himself.
I could go routes, right? Because technically, I think Scump's peak was in AW, but he didn't win champs AW.
No, we cooked him. Remember?
We did cook him. But I think I'm going to go with Ghost Crim6 on my roster. So when looking at my team, I'm not looking at the old man Crim6. I'm looking at the young prime Ghost Crim6 Slayer.
Okay. You know who I'm taking in mind then? I got to take Formal.
Ooh.
That's
a
good
good
one.
choice. It's a good choice. I don't even know who I'm going to go. To be honest, you just took my picks, man. I was so convinced Pat was picking himself that
You're picking two here.
I've got two. Oh, that's a good
We're
point.
snake drafting.
Yes, man. Right, okay. I'm going to take an AR first, and I'm going to go... I'm going to go...
So we're building a roster off of like roles too, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I feel like you kind of have
You gotta
to.
build
you
a
have
team.
to.
Yeah, you gotta build
It's
a
got to
team.
be a team, yeah.
Then we can kind of weigh them all up at the end.
Are we assuming this is a Boots Call of Duty or a Jetpack?
Yeah,
Boots, right? Okay.
Yeah, we got to do boots.
Hey,
Right,
Doug, you might be fucked.
That's fine. No, that's okay. That's okay.
right, I'm going to go Cellium as my AR. And then I'm going to pick an SMG. And I'm going to make this real boring and go aBeZy. Why not? Just take two of the FaZe boys.
That's a great duo. That's a really great duo. I'm going to be a little bit more diverse with my pick in here. Let me get Hydra.
Whoa.
Goes up.
Hydra.
Snake draft.
Yeah, Hydra?
Yeah, why not?
Hydra's a really good bro. Hydra's MW2 season was absurd. That's his peak.
They're all great players, Pat. You got to
And
build the
it's a
best
boots-
team,
and
right?
it's a
We're
boots
building the
guy.
best team, not the
Okay.
best talent, Pat.
Okay.
I want the best team here.
God, I'd pay to hear Formula and Hydra call out to each other.
I mean, if we're going boots, God, I got Crim. Crim's my flex, right? In Ghost, his peak, he ran both, right? He ran Remington on the long range maps, and he ran a sub on the close range map. So flex, right?
Yep.
He wasn't your main. It was Clay, right?
Clay wasn't on our team,
Clay,
but yeah.
not Clay, but yeah. Well,
Damon.
It was Damon. Actually, well, that game was weird, wasn't it, Pat? Because I feel like on the AR
Once
maps,
it switched to
everyone ran
vectors,
ARs.
it was like 4 vectors. But yeah, I mean, even I ran an AR.
But
some.
you would consider like Crim your main flex, right?
I would consider me and Crim both our flexes.
Okay, yeah. I just don't want to count him as a main AR. Either way.
Yeah.
All right, if we're going off peaks, boots games, I think I go. Fuck, dude. I think I go with Octane. I'm gonna go with Sam. I think Sam was actually fucking gross.
The problem is Sam and Crim do not have a good history together, so you're already building.
Wait, hold on.
They did get
hold on.
T24
Actually,
chance.
No.
He already locked it in. He already locked it in.
He did lock it in.
I didn't lock it in. I didn't lock it in.
Yeah, it's locked in. I'm sorry. It's locked in.
Chill. Hold on. It's not locked in.
All right, we'll decide if.
I think I need to pick a sub though,
replacement.
because the subs are getting wiped out here.
All right, there you go. Envoy right there.
Nah, chill. I'm going with.
That's recency bias, Pat.
Fuck, dude, this is hard. I'm going with Scump.
I like that. That's a good duo.
I'm going with Scump here.
Do I get to pick 2 now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it's over. I'm locking in myself, of course. Lock me in. And then add. I need an AR, huh?
Are you the flex, Pat?
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm the flex. Need an AR here, I think. Shit, I might need. No, I'll run a sub. I'll run a sub with Chris. And I'll lock in. Damn, this is tough. I'll lock in Sam.
You got Octane.
Oh, I'm smoking you
Oh
guys.
my god, it's the
I got
fucking
this.
it's the flank all over again.
I got this. You guys are smoked.
Wait, my squad is nice.
Oh, I mean, like, this is just easy at this point. Like,
Wait. I'm convinced my squad. Like, if we look at current standings, my squad is better than all of yours.
you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose to me, and I'm gonna pick Karma.
No, you guys are screwed, dude. No.
Wait, I'm still very confident.
I'm already winning this. And it's not even
In
close.
boots, we're in boots, not jetpacks, buddy. You're not. It is.
This is still the wait. Hold on. If we're talking about like any game before like World War
we're
II
just in
boots. Yeah, if we're talking about Ghost or BO2 boots, I'm even like this. My squad is good.
Nah, you guys are screwed.
2 players on your team can't beat me, so I don't know how you're good.
Yeah,
but go ahead, Doug.
but wait
here,
until
man.
you see who's on the roster at
Oh,
the end.
man.
Okay,
We're going
okay.
okay, so just to be absolutely certain, right? Like these 4 teams are just gonna play head to head for the best world championship team ever. Is that like how we're
hold
seeing
on.
this?
Yeah.
You want? Let's put it this way: in a hypothetical world where we talk about boots, if we take it back to old school, like a BO2/Go/
Let's just say World War II. That was the most recent one.
World War II.
Yeah,
Just say
that's
like
most
every player in
recent.
their peak. Just say their peak and imagine what their
This
peak would
guy's
be in this
starting
situation.
agendas here.
Nah, every player in their peak, yes, but playing on like a World War II style game.
Two of your teammates didn't play World War II. How's World War II the standard when that was like one of the worst boots
No,
games
this is the
in terms
standard
of
here.
like?
This is I got it. I
It's
got
the
it.
most
Chris.
recent the change.
Here's what it's going to be. It's going to be the best of all these players, and then it's on a game that's undecided that we don't know. But it's the best of them at that time of their career.
It's on X Defiant. I like my chances.
All right, there we go.
my peaks are easily the best.
That's how we're all going to feel on these
Not
lists,
really.
right?
What do you mean? I have 3 GOAT contenders on my roster. I won.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
who
but
won? Who won the MVP with that roster?
Their
Though?
championships together. Like I don't understand how
I
that's.
literally won. It's
No,
fine. Keep
okay.
it going.
So
Let's
my
go, Doug.
pick,
Where's your next one?
I'm going to put a dagger in all you guys right here because this one is the X factor that all you guys missed out on.
apathy.
No, give me Kismet. I want the Bulldog.
What?
The Bulldog?
1.55 at champs, the season MVP in Hydra, the sub duo right there, and then you got the 1.5 KD with Formal.
This
The
guy's
best
going an
peaks.
upgraded New York Subliners 2022 roster.
We're talking the best peaks of all these
23.
players, though. These guys got the best peaks, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think I've got the sleeper squad here.
Who you
Because,
got? I mean, he
right.
does have two of Atlanta FaZe right now.
yeah, exactly. And do you know what? We're talking peaks here. So aBeZy's SMG duo is going to be John. I'm locking John in.
I like
Okay.
that duo.
Boots,
yeah.
COD, John, you lost, bro.
Wait, no. We're talking people's peaks, man. That's all we're talking. Just
Okay.
you're judging them on their peaks.
We can't judge them on when they won. We have to judge their peak in general.
Sure. You're right. Okay.
And listen, John's not a bad pick for Boots. I mean, obviously better on jetpacks, don't get me wrong, but like, it's a good pick, right? Listen. And then we need a flex, so we're going to go. Oh, this is tough. Oh. I actually think I might have to go Kenny.
No, that was my fourth.
I'm gonna go Kenny. Yeah,
Solid
fuck it.
squad.
No,
We're
I
going
wanted
Kenny.
Kenny.
Let's
Wait,
go.
you're
so-
taking Kenny as an AR?
Yep.
All his peaks in
That's a
COD
valid
were
point.
as a
That's a valid
sub.
point. That's a valid point.
No,
but-
it's locked in. It's locked in.
Oh,
All his peaks in COD were as a
hold
stub.
on. Nah,
Let me take
No,
it.
that's
I want
not,
Kenny.
that's
I'll
not
take Kenny.
fair. His
Give me Kenny.
BO4, his BO's going to be 04, and that
Oh
was a
yeah,
flex.
but that wasn't one of his peaks.
I mean,
Yeah,
I would
we're
say
locking
that
in.
was
We're
one of
locking
his
in.
better.
I don't care. We're locking in. Because
Okay.
Well,
that's what we're doing.
you guys leave me with no choice here, man.
Wait, what do you need, Doug?
I need an AR, and there's only one man for this job.
There's
And
like
that
5
man-
ARs.
That man has to be Caesar Skies Bueno.
This guy just picked the New York
This guy
Subliners.
just went with it.
Okay, so look, we have the MVP best peak ever Formal. We have Caesar Skies and Kiss with the 1.55s, and we got Hydra.
Okay.
This is the
Chris,
most
who you got?
dominant, talented, best peak team.
Chris
I
needs a
mean,
sub. Oh, he's
no.
going BO2 mirror.
No, I don't need a sub.
Yeah, you do.
Damon's peak was I'll take Damon's BO2 peak. I'll take Scum's
Then you
peak
need-
and
then you need
peak
a
as
main
AW.
AR?
Yeah, I need an AR. So it's either
a main AR.
Yeah, it's either me or Clay.
I feel like
What's
you have to
Clay's
pick
peak?
yourself if you're on this list, right? Like you
I'm
have
picking
to.
I'm picking myself.
You got to play in the
bro.
match
Wait,
yourself.
what
You have to
is
pick
Clay's
yourself.
what is Clay's peak though?
It's Advanced
we-
Warfare.
AW for sure.
I'd probably take BO2 over AW Clay.
I mean, he won champs in Friday at AW though, and
I'm
was, like,
taking
the best.
myself in BO2. I was easily like a top 3 player in the game. Like, and it wasn't even close. I was,
I fear you
I
guys
was
are
a-
fucked.
I was a prodigy. Who are you
Wait,
taking?
Chris's team is fucked. I got Drazah.
What? I'm fucked? How's that? Nah, not even close. My peaks are way higher than all your peaks. I'm sorry. It's over.
Haggis team would be annoying to play low key.
I have 3.
What?
I have 3 Mount Rushmore players on my
He
team.
has
lost.
He has OpTic with himself over Formal, but if we're talking about a Boots COD, like this team is getting ran.
No, it's not.
No, on a boost con, that's good.
What? This is no. Scump was godlike as an individual. He had worse teams than all of us did, all the
don't
way
think you
up
understand.
until the end of the years.
Your team is gonna just see me on the other side, and it's a GG, a forfeit.
Nah, except
Go back.
except they have me. You lost.
What? You're just gonna be like, yo, they agreed to GAs, but I'm still gonna run a shotgun. And you're gonna throw off their mental ASAP.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking back at my team and thinking my team's comms would be trash.
I have the best cohesion team. I feel.
Your team is cooked.
No, but my team would be shooting. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know about the comms situation.
Nah, our team is checking Scump. Like me.
What team has the best comms? I
Damon,
feel like
and
my team
Krim.
has the best comms low key. Either my
What?
team or Pat's team.
My team has the best comms.
What? Your team does not have the best comms.
Okay,
Their comms would be
maybe
really
I'm-
good, but I think I have the best comms.
just
Honestly,
me and- it's
obviously
just
the
me
Hydra
and-
perfect
me and
English.
Craig.
Hydra perfect English though, because the English.
Wait,
is
no,
kind
we
of-
can't just hypothetically give Hydra perfect English.
Nah, it's at Pat's team. Pat's team has.
It's just
Pat's
this guy
team-
gave him 5 years of Rosetta Stone. Like, what is that?
Pat's team has the best comms. They have Sam
And the best S
Yeah.
and D,
Zach.
and the best respawn,
Pat's
and
team's
the
pretty
best
good.
third game.
But you
Alright,
got to
we
pick.
can-
You got to pick Simp first, and then you get to put yourself in your prime there. So that's kind of a cheat
Listen,
code.
bro, I'm gonna be.
I mean,
I'm,
you guys all could have picked that.
I'm rating
Well, we can't pick
these-
Simp first. If Simp changes everything.
I'm
Could've picked
rating
me.
these non-biased. Like my team's the best, Pat's team's the second best, Doug's team, and then Marky's is terrible, bro.
Wait, hold on.
team's
I feel
not
like
terrible.
we
Hold on.
can't say Mark's team is terrible. Here,
How are they
actually,
terrible?
Mark, I think you fucked up though. I think your roles are off. I think you got to go Cell main, aBeZy and Kenny sub, and John Flex, and you get BO3 John Flex, and then you get Kenny World War
BO3.
John never
Yeah,
ran
it
a
was.
flex.
Do you guys not remember the HVK firing fringe
The
fucking like
HVK was the
15 kill streaks?
fakest flex ever, bro. Like that was a sub that people would use to cheese. That shit should have been G8. It was OP.
Listen,
I
bro,
do
I
think
think
it's quite
Mark, if you go
crazy
Ken World War II peak SMG with
Yeah.
the BZ, that's a combo.
right, so- Let's look at who was left over and like see if any of these guys. I think Clay and
wait,
even
why don't
like,
we pick a sub? Why don't we pick a substitute?
I think Apathy and Clay are both players that should have been.
Apathy's
That
high on
could've
my
been
list
picked.
there. Yeah.
I mean, attached too. I mean, BO2 Mir was
Fargo?
pretty insane. Shotzi didn't get picked. Austin
Honestly-
didn't get picked.
honestly,
There's actually some good players that
Honestly,
didn't
to
get
be
picked.
fair, Assault, his peak was at World War II champs, and he had a really good World War II champs.
I mean, he won the
Yeah, he had
statistically.
an insane
He
event.
had an
yeah.
insane event. So if you count his peak, like he's kind of underrated there. Obviously, not
He was
the
like
best
1.2
after
every
that,
mode.
But yeah, exactly. So that's still a high peak.
Honestly, there's so many good names out that have missed this. It's kind of mind blowing to think that like people like Teep or Clay didn't get picked.
Shotzi's was pretty high too with his MW 2019
Crowder and Cap
season.
both one
and
as a
his
coach. and
Cap's
as a
peak would
player.
have been like BO1 MW2 though.
Black
BO1.
Ops, no, Modern
No, Black Ops
Warfare
1.
Modern Warfare 2 running around with the FAMAS marathon.
Yeah,
But yeah,
like
no,
one of those is
MW2 Cap
Cap's
was
peak.
insane.
I mean, I still think BO2 Mir peak was insane. It was like 3 months where he was by far one of the best SMGs.
I retired during that time, so I didn't get to play against him. I want to know.
And then like even like Shotzi peak, like I mean,
What
there's
is
so
his
much-
peak? Is it MW19?
MW19,
You gotta be
MVP rookie season.
MW19, right?
The only thing I'm going to say about that is that they won like 3 best of 5s online because it was the COVID
Yeah.
year, which sucks because it's like I wish I could have watched it.
You're saying his peak was online. He had an online peak.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that it's not his fault that it was online because of COVID. Like, I know how great Shotzi is. It just sucks that it had to be because of COVID. Like,
Yeah.
Ab's peak was pretty insane too.
Yeah. All right. Well, for the viewers at home, let us know in the comments whose roster is the best.
Wait. Should we pick a coach? I see multiple retired players here who have coached.
Does everyone here have a coach? Only coaches I see is Cap, Crowder, I guess Teep.
And
That's pretty much it.
that's all the coaches.
There's only
Silly's
3.
coaching.
I'm picking
challenge.
Sloth as my coach.
Yeah, wait, it's a snake
Sloths.
draft. All right, I got replays.
Oh, cheese.
All right.
Who you got,
I'm
Chris?
getting left with Sloth. Let's get it. I'm gassed. I'm fine.
I'm picking Apathy as my coach because that would be hilarious, bro. Brian is so delusional, just good vibes, like just not even like.
No, that
I
could
don't
work.
even know what he would be saying.
I got to look at my dynamic here, and I think for my dynamic, I got to take Ender. Give me
No,
Ender as my coach.
I'm actually
Ooh.
trolling, but I'm trolling with that. I'm picking Clay as my coach.
Clay's a good pick. He would fit well. I'm taking Illy as my coach for my team. I think it would like resonate with these players well.
What the fuck?
Like you got to think, your back's against the wall. You got one series, or else you guys lose. Like who
Bro,
is the
I am
person
the-
whispering in their ears?
My
I think
team
Illy.
is the vet squad, bro. That is hilarious.
Well,
Your
I
team
mean,
really
like,
is.
I feel
Mark, you
like
got options.
I mean, yeah, I
old
got
man.
a couple coaches left here. I thought I was getting left with Sloth or some shit, but
got
apparently
J-Cap.
I've got Teep or Cap.
Those are solid, yeah.
I feel like I just got to go Cap. He's the only world champion coach left here.
Wait, was
Like,
Teep?
Teep's a world champ.
Was Teep the
No, but
coach?
like, as a coach.
Oh,
you know?
right.
Wait,
yeah.
hold
know
on.
what
Was
I'm saying?
Teep the coach of the OpTic Dynasty, not Infant Warfare?
No, he didn't start coaching until like BO4.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
World War II he coached, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
I'm
World War
walking
II.
in Cap as my coach. See, my team's looking nice. We
Wait, I'm running
got
you
the
guys.
LAT, we got we've got the vibes from John and Cap team together.
Funny enough, Cap did coach Kenny and John on the team at the same time back in Cold War.
Oh yeah, that went really well.
Yeah, they were like almost not qualifying, right?
Yeah,
They're terrible.
Yeah, why did you have to bring that up, Chris? Why did you keep that
Yeah,
quiet?
Mark, you want to change your selection?
Nah, just I've messed up my fucking team, so let's just lock in.
We'll let the comments decide, but
Yeah, we'll let the comments decide the team.
That's a yeah, we're smoking you guys for sure.
Right. Let's move on to our community questions, lads. We've got one from Strathmore, and he said, how influential is the relationships between players when considering their roster? I know players only have so much say in the team, but the friendships of players make them reluctant to change the team. What will you do to win?
Wait, hold on.
I'll be honest with you, Mark. I need a repeat of
Yeah, can you say that one more
Yeah,
time?
honestly, the question doesn't really make that much sense, but obviously with a Scottish accent as well, it might have made even less sense. I'll read it again. How influential is the relationships between players when considering their roster? I know players only have so much say in the team, but the friendships of players make them reluctant to change the team. What will you do to win? I guess what he's saying is like, how much influence do the players have when making like roster changes and stuff like that?
I think every team is different. I think that a philosophy that I've always stood by was you make your teammates your friends, not your friends your teammates. That's the number one philosophy that I've always learned in my life. So whatever feelings I had towards players, whatever, Chris, we had times where you call me No Thumbs Doug and I would get mad, or, Damien would say, don't call me Dame. I'd be like, okay, you know what? Instead of tweaking on them, I'm going to make my teammates my friends. I want these guys to trust me. I want to win with these guys. So it just depends. And then also some teams are player ran completely, and it's always on the players. Some teams are a little bit of everything. Some teams have ownership, GMs, coaches, players, all making decisions on teams. So in the league, I don't know how everyone does it, but the way I've always had a philosophy is you make your teammates your friends, not your friends your teammates.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just dependent on teammates. I think it does have it definitely holds weight, especially at the beginning of a team's lifespan when they're first forming. But I don't think I think at least at the top, like most of the players are just looking at teaming with the best players and they don't really let their friendships like sway them. But when it gets to the lower end where like the talent is a little bit harder to kind of understand and gauge, right? Especially with the lower ran teams, I think friendships apply a lot more.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I also think it applies more today. I feel like, especially with the way the league is set up, like you kind of have to almost be friends with everybody in a way, right? Like, you need to keep that relationship just because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, how many times have we seen it over the last few years where someone's like at the top and then just within the blink of an eye they're just gone and they're just playing in challengers and then their career's over. It happens like every single year. So yeah, definitely if you're watching and you're a player, just keep those relationships tight because it definitely helps you when you're going further on in your career and having to join different rosters and shit goes tits up. But to answer the question, I think from my perspective, it's depending on the team. Like in Toronto, it was very much like the coaches made the final decision, but the players' opinions were definitely like taken into account. But yeah, like you guys are saying, there's probably teams out there where their coach isn't even really the one that's making the final decision when it comes down to rosters and stuff like that. We have another question from Typically, and he asks, why do you think that World War II was the one game that certain pros excelled at over every single other COD title? Players like Assault, Silly, Chino, Decimate, etc. These players never seemed to make much of an impact in other titles, but this particular one they excelled at.
Because it was a straight up boots game. It was at its core. There wasn't any movement, like crazy movement cheese. It was just a very clean cut boots Call of Duty. It was the most classic COD since Ghost.
It was also the last game that was like a normal COD. Like we went from that to BO4, which like the spawns at least were fine, but like the mechanics were completely different. And then after that,
you had to slide in BO4. You had to slide in MW19.
Yeah, but not even that. Like MW 2019, 5v5 spawns were fucking terrible. Like the game, BO4 was the first. Was just like it was like going from boots to it was like going from like a normal boots game to like a jetpack game. That was the transition to BO4 plus 5v5.
It was like boots. It was like boots 2.0.
Yeah, and then after that, we went to the Warzone era where the games just got progressively worse, and there was just so many different mechanics, but also
It was
like
no longer hit scan. It was projectile.
exactly.
Like it was guns. The crazy gunsmith.
That's why we just transitioned to an entirely different era. Like it's a completely different game ever since then.
Because also the players that we're comparing, like in that example, were also good at original Boots game, right? Like pre-jetpack Call of Duties. Like they were also good at those. That's the weird thing about how COD has went, and I think we referenced this on one of our last episodes where it was like, I think a big reason why the Atlanta FaZe squad is so dominant is because they're playing the same games. Like they've never had an era switch. Like we went from normal Boots to jetpacks to got a normal Boots game, and then we went into Boots
Sprint, slide
2.0,
cancel.
tac sprint, fucked up spawns, projectile bullets, slide cancel. Yeah, so it's like they've stayed in that one era, and I think if the games ever went back and you saw like a multi-year stretch of that like very bare bones COD, I think you'd
Dynamic
see
aim assist era.
yeah,
Oh,
you'd still see like those players who were good at those games succeed. It's the game. They're just so different than they were.
Yep.
Yeah, and unless the games change drastically, if that FaZe team's like the core of it stays together, they're just going to continue.
I don't think the games will ever change.
Yeah,
With the Warzone, I think we're in the Warzone era now, and the games are always going to be the exact same.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fact. And that's it from us, guys. Here at Reverse Sweep, presented by Prize Picks. Make sure you download the app today and use code Reverse Sweep for a first deposit match of up to $100. Really enjoyed today's show, and I hope you guys did too. But as always, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment below your questions for the next episode. The best ones will get featured in our next one. We'll see you all later. Have a good night.
Peace.